As Donald Trump continues to push for full-on dictatorial martial law in this country over anti-ICE protests, a bomb just hit him from, of all places, Fox News. Politics does create strange bedfellows. Welcome to Occupy Democrats. I'm David Reddish. As you probably know, anti-ICE protests have sprung up all over the country in such cities as New York, Chicago, Atlanta, and of course Los Angeles, where Trump federalized the National Guard and deployed Marines. Once again, as an Angelino, these protests are, with rare exception, peaceful, and in LA proper, only cover about 4 blocks downtown. This also happens to be on the eve of Trump's military parade, where tanks will flood the streets of Washington, D.C., and where even more counter-protests are expected to pop up all over the nation. Last night, without even a hint of irony, President Taco and First Lady Taco Bell attended a Kennedy Center performance of the musical Les Miserables. While there, this happened.
If this turns into another summer of unrest, what are you prepared to do, sir?
About what?
If this turns, well, the protests have spread now to 16 cities across the U.S. If this turns in...
That's what you're saying. Do I believe you? I don't think so.
Well, I got that from the
I can
Fox
tell
News
you
Green
that
Room.
What we have is a situation in Los Angeles that was caused by gross incompetence. They didn't have the police to handle it. The police were asking us to come in. They were very late. We had to go in to save a lot of ICE officers, as you know, who were held up. They were holed up in a building, and they were being attacked. And the military went in, the National Guard went in and got them. The police weren't able, unfortunately, to move fast enough, but we moved fast.
It's pretty amazing that Fox would call Trump on his nonsense like that at a red carpet event. And for the record, no, the protests are not what Trump described. He makes it sound like some revolutionary army had ICE pinned in a building. That's simply not true. There were peaceful protests outside a federal building and ICE detention centers. The protesters were not armed. And despite a vandal setting a Waymo car on fire and a few throwing rocks, that doesn't warrant calling in the military. As we've said before on the show, Marines are trained to kill, not pacify crowds. And all of this is backfiring. Wait until you see what Fox has to say to Trump now. Stay with me. Before I get there, I do, as a former theater kid, have to inject this moment from last night.
Question on the musical. Have you seen the musical before, and do you identify more with Jean Valjean or Javert?
That's a tough one, that last part of that question. That's tough, I think. You better answer that one, honey. I don't know. I've seen it. We've seen it a number of times. It's fantastic.
Now, Trump has given conflicting answers over the years as to his favorite musical. He cited Evita, about a fascist dictator and his wife, which kind of makes sense, all things considered. He cited Cats, which is also fitting since he loves to grab women by the cat. And he cited Les Mis, but he appears to have no idea what it's even about. The main plot is a counterpoint between a reformed criminal trying to spread empathy and good and a law and order man obsessed with destroying him. And it's hard to decide who to root for? I guess that's no surprise either. What is surprising, however, is that Fox News, the network that gave birth to Trump the politician, the channel that functions as a right-wing factory of lies, misrepresentations, and propaganda, has also turned on Trump. In the wake of Trump's handling of the LA protests and his standoff with California Governor Gavin Newsom, analyst Jessica Tarlov delivered some harsh words to Trump. Take a look.
So Gavin Newsom is speaking for a majority of Americans. Right before we came on air, there was a new Quinnipiac poll that was released. So Donald Trump, -12 on approval in general, -11 on immigration, and -16 on deportations. He has taken his best issue and decimated it by making these deportations in a hasty way. It used to be go after the criminals. That's what we heard was going to happen. Now it's go to the nail salons, go to the job sites, go to birthday parties, go to immigration courts. There is now no right way to do it. There is no way to be part of the system, pay your taxes, make a better life for your family, and hopefully get citizenship. Stephen Miller is mad because they were deporting less people on a daily basis than Joe Biden was. So he went and he said, go to 7-Eleven and you go to Home Depot. And now Americans and illegals who, yes, they're here illegally, are living in fear of what the government is trying to do. And just one more thing, the GOP caucus, like Valadejo, Gonzalez, representatives, they know that this is bad. Valadejo saying, please prioritize removal of known criminals. Gonzalez, focus on convicted criminals, not farm laborers.
That's right, folks. Trump's approval rating is now underwater both overall and on just about every issue. Newsweek reported similar data this morning for anyone questioning. But the big shock is the swing on immigration, Trump's signature issue, which now has him down by a shocking 11 points. And that swing took place in just a matter of days. That's an amazing moment of backfire, especially considering that this whole standoff is basically a publicity stunt in the first place. For Trump, it was a moment to take on Gavin Newsom, who he considers a personal enemy. It has, of course, made Newsom into a national figure and leader of the anti-Trump movement. For Spectrum Nazi Stephen Miller, the raids were meant to be an attack on immigrants and the Latino population at large. Of course, he's alienated even pro-Trump politicians with these actions, since they thought ICE would only seek out criminal immigrants. And for both, it's a distraction from a number of bigger, more impactful issues. The wars in Ukraine and Gaza rage on. Trump's tariff war has had a terrible effect on the national economy and is yielding little in the way of wins or deals. And Trump's budget bill is hemorrhaging support in both chambers of Congress, with only 3 weeks until Trump's self-imposed 4th of July due date. And of course, Trump and Elon Musk are no longer having jockstrap parties in the Oval Office. So sad. During Pride Month, no less. In other words, the Trump presidency is in full-on disintegration mode, and it's only been 6 months, and nationwide protests are brewing in just a matter of days. Anything can happen to change the political dynamic, but the tide in America is one rising against Trump and his cockroaches. Remember, Saturday, June 14th is the nationwide day of protest against Trump. If you are in Los Angeles, I will see you there. And remember, carry an American flag. This nation belongs to all of us. This is Occupy Democrats.